Welcome, Song Fang.
Yeah.
It is a really, really wonderful film. And since I saw it the first time, there are so many questions I want to ask you because it is such a mysterious object.
Okay.
宋导演您好，这部电影真的非常的不错，然后我们接下来会有很多的问题需要问你，因为这是一个非常神秘的一部电影。
I know that some people in the audience will have recognized you from your role in Hsiao-hsien's Flight of the Red Balloon. And I was thinking that perhaps in that film you were making the beginning of this film when you were working on your computer. One of the questions has to do with whether the film is entirely scripted or partly scripted, and the characters that you and I presume your brother and your father play, because you all have the same family name, is the script for that true?
宋导演，我相信台下的观众有很多人都从这个红气球这个电影里面认识到你。那么我们有一个问题就是说，这个电影里面的这个剧本，是不是全部都是是不是属实，还是部分是属实？因为看起来你和你的家人，他们都是在这个电影里面，他们的角色是自己，请您解释一下。
Could we do, yeah, please maybe let us try to do one scene, because I can you hear me?
Yes.
I will try to answer your questions by English. When my English can't work well, I will try to get the help from the translator.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. I think your first question is the script is nearly totally written. Yeah. And I wrote every scene and every dialogue, but it's also based on the experience that I lived with my family, based on the things that I heard, things I've seen in my family, also in other families through the years. And based on the records of my memories, my experiences. And as I know well my family and their friends, so when I wrote the script, sometimes it's based on their words. Sometimes I can explore, because as I know well how they will speak, how they will talk, and what's their character. So sometimes I can go a little bit further on the base of the experienced things. Yeah. And at the beginning, I thought I will let my parents and my brother to come to play in this film, because I have filmed them before. They have played in my other films, so I know I know what they can do. But at the beginning, I didn't thought that I will play myself, because I really want to complete my director jobs. But at the last, I realized that it's not so realistic to find someone else to play me, as I will ask my parents, my family members to play in this film. So finally I say, okay, I will do this. Yeah, so it's kind of like that.
Just one question about the names.
Yeah.
The woman who is your mother, she has a different family name,
Yeah.
but she is your mother.
Yeah,
Your
she's my
actual
mother.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many cameras did you have running at once on each scene?
For most of the scenes, I used one camera, except one scene that in the film, the mother and the daughter, they went to their relative's home, and they talked about with the aunt of the daughter. That scene, I used two cameras. Yeah, except this scene, I used one camera.
And were all the camera positions, they were pre-planned? I mean, I think you didn't do like a lot of different angles or coverage. You did not.
No. I didn't, during the shooting, I didn't try many different angles, but I will try with one or two angles. But before before to set up the camera, we really think about the angle and the framing. Yeah, so we will take time to try to find the best angle, because the apartment is quite small. Yeah.
And just one more question, and then we're going to ask for questions from the audience. But in the script, did you ever think for a minute that whatever is on your mind that you are not saying in the film, did you ever think that that would be actually revealed in words, or did you always mean to keep silent about it? I was, let's see, did I really understand your question? Did you mean all the silent moments in the film? No.
Is that...
No, maybe it's a wrong interpretation on my part, but I thought that you came home and you might want to tell your parents something about your life, and you don't really. And I wondered if that was the plan of the script, or at some point you decided while you were making the film that this better be kept silent or private.
I think it's designed in the script. It's designed in the script. And because for me, I saw this film is more like I would like to put focus on my family, or I can say the presentation of my family, because I didn't really want to make a self-portrait of my proper family. But I think they are kind of presentation of many a part of families in China. And I film them because this is the things that I know the best. So the absence of information of the daughter in the film is kind of, I think it's designed in the script. Yeah.
Okay. We're going to ask for questions from the audience.
Okay.
Down here in the front, please. And wait till you get the mic.
By blurring lines between documentary, by having characters your character as your name, and narrative, traditional narrative, what do you feel you're saying about the process of filmmaking and about the process of making a film that has autobiographical elements in it?
Okay. I don't know, did I get all your questions? First, did you mean the blur of the boundary in between the documentary and the fiction?
Right, exactly. Because you're the director, but you're also using you as the character, though it's not entirely you as the person. So it kind of blurs lines, but it isn't absolutely one or the other.
Okay. From the beginning, I treat this film as a fiction. I never thought about to make a documentary style fiction or a docudrama or something. I never thought about that. When I written the script, I even used different names. I used really names for the character, but the older characters are based on the people I know well from my family. So from the beginning to trying to structure the film, to put all the materials of each scene and to structure all the scenes, I treat it as a fiction. But maybe the way that I make it, because I think as I create or I wrote the characters based on the true people, and I know their abilities. So I think the best way is to ask them to play in this film. So maybe the way that I shoot this film is a kind of documentary. And also during the shooting, the script is written from the beginning, but during the shooting, I didn't really ask them to repeat one sentence by one sentence. But I told them the context, and then I let them to improvise or to live in the scene. So I also wait in the true moments during the shooting that they live in those moments. So maybe in this kind of sense, there is a sense of there is a side of documentary in this film, but I really didn't think this there is any kind of intention to try to blur the boundary between the documentary and the fiction, because for me the documentary is really to try to capture the things, what is happening. And for this film, I really just try to readapt or try to recatch the time, the life which is already past. So this is for your first question. And please repeat the second question.
The second question was then, as a result, what did you feel that this said about the process of filmmaking? In other words, documentary is, like you said, capturing something as it happens, and fiction is something else. But here, you've really make us rethink what filmmaking's about.
What the filmmaking is about.
Yeah, you make us rethink what the purpose or the value, even for you or for us as an audience seeing this, is about.
Okay. I think for me to make this film is I want to represent those moments which really touched me. Through the years, I kept the regular contacts with my family, and I saw how they live, and I saw how they experience the moments. But that moments, when we lived on those moments, I didn't think about the filmmaking or something like that. And after the time passing, and when I remembered of those moments, and also with an accumulation of the sense of the life that we have until now, there's one moment I really want to make a film about what I have seen in the context of my family, the life, the family life. And so for me, at the beginning, it's really quite, I can't say personal, but I think it's individual. It's just a kind of desire to memory something, and also to share, because I believe the things that the basic things of the life who touched me, that could be able to touch someone else. That's one thing that I believe in. So from the beginning, I just tried to make something that touched myself, and I try to do my best to do it, or do it well, and then let's see. So I didn't know, did I really get well your question? So.
I think you did.
Okay.
Another question? Yeah, here.
I thought it was a beautiful film. And I'd seen a short of yours that you had done for Cine Foundation, which I like quite a bit. So, and one thing that struck me was the kind of use of sound. There's a lot of like kind of ambient sound like outside the window. So, if you could talk about how you kind of conceived of the sound design for the film. And I guess a related question to that is that so much of the film is about kind of off-screen space, people talking about things that have happened, and there's things that occur in the film that we don't see, but but kind of impact. And what I think was really beautiful about your film was that there's this kind of sense of this very larger world outside this little apartment that you set the film in. So if you could just talk about kind of those two things.
Okay, thank you. And first, for the sound, from the beginning, I thought it's kind of in the same style of the film. I don't want any other real design or real addition of the sound. At the first, from the first step, I asked my sound designer to record all the true ambient sound of the apartment and of different moments and of different ambience of the weather. But it may not well shown in the film because but from the beginning I tried to relive the sound that I heard when I was in home. So my sound designer, she really recorded many sounds, real sounds from the just as we stayed many times in the apartment. So I think she recorded many sounds from the inside of the apartment or from the window of the apartment. So I just try, at the first step, I try to represent all the sounds that we can hear when we were in the apartment. And the second step, I try to because mostly we only, through the film, we see the inside of the house. But I think just around outside of the apartment, there is a living environment. I think the sound could represent this environment. So I talked to my sound designer that maybe through the sound we can feel the environment outside. This is and also I thought about because when I was in the apartment, I can hear lots of sounds. I think it's something which impressed me. So when I worked with the sound designer, we choose, sometimes we try to choose and value and modify the ambient sounds that we can hear. Sometimes I was a kind of sensitive to the sound, but I don't really, as my sound designer, can have a more global sound vision of the film. Sometimes I was more sensitive to the concrete sounds. Sometimes I like to use the ambient sounds as like music, or not exactly music, but well, I think before I say the stupid things, I will stop with that. And also, I was kind of limited with my language. I try to talk about the second the second question that you mentioned, I think it's kind of coach as the choose that I've made to only let people to talk about the past in the present, and of the form that we can see only inside of the room, but we can feel the things. We can see windows. We can feel a little bit outside of the space of outside of the apartment. I want to say one thing, that before I written this script, I was thought about memories and the past, because for me it's like the memories and the past time is often comes into my mind suddenly, and it present totally the past moments that we've lived. But I thought about how to present these things in films, we can represent the past. We can have many ways, but in this film, I choose to not try to represent them through images. I just want to do it as we did experience a lot of time in the real life, that we talked about that. In the conversations, I found one thing, that with families, with friends, maybe a part of the conversation, often we talk about, 3 years ago, or 10 years ago, or before, when we something like that. So I just try to do in this way. I choose to not to try to present the past through the images, but through the conversations. So that's the one thing that I was quite clear from the beginning. Yeah.
Someone else?
So,
I'm sorry.
yeah, and that's fine.
Another hand way in the back in the last row.
Do you still want to be 17, or is that only a choice you made for the character?
Eh?
And does the film represent your desire to go to the past?
I think it doesn't present my desire to go to the past, but maybe it presents my desire to try to recatch, or try to just relive the past. I think we can never go back to the past. Yeah.
Down here.
I thought it was very interesting that all the claustrophobic space inside, that you always had the window as a frame, the critic. And even when there's the only scene that it's outside in the car, you again have the glass, of the car. Now, for you, the glass, I think you did it consciously, that it's past and present time and the glass. Have you chosen that consciously or unconsciously?
I think it's unconsciously. Yeah, but I like a lot the apartment of my parents, because they have a lot of windows, and also I think I do like the lights which come through the window. So I think it's unconsciously I make this choice, but I do like to shoot with the framing with the windows.
And another question: do you like also movies? Do you think that you have been, if you have seen them, that you have been influenced by him?
I think I like a lot of I like a lot of films, and I try to learn things from them. But for this film, I can say when I wrote the script, I sometimes I feel lost, because I don't have enough confidence that this film could really be completed, because as I said, I try to represent the past through the conversations. That means also from the beginning, I know that I want to make a kind of conversation films. There will be a lot of conversations, and there is no really a line of the storytelling. So often I felt lost, and I didn't find. Maybe I didn't see many films. In my experience, I didn't find some film can really be the examples, really very coach well with this film. So I was kind of trying to experiment my way. So, yeah.
Another question out here? Is there a hand in the middle over there? Yeah.
First of all, what town and province did the film take place in, did you shoot in? And secondly, are there any aspects of Chinese culture and life that you would want to especially convey to Western audiences?
Okay, could you repeat the first question?
Yeah.
I didn't hear well the two words.
Right, the town and province where you shot the film.
Okay, the town is Nanjing. The province is Jiangsu. Nanjing is a city with a lot of history past in Chinese history, and it's not as big as Beijing and Shanghai. But it's a capital of Jiangsu province, so it's kind of like second line city in China. And the second question is, I didn't really, I do have the things that I want to, I cherish and I want to capture, I want to record in this film, but not especially for the Western people, for all the people, for myself first and for all the people, is I think my parents, as I know, within my experience, I think my parents, and also the uncles we have seen in this film and their friends, for me, they present a generation that is, how to say, beyond or older than me. And also, not every people like them. Their attitude of life, I really appreciate a lot. They value a lot of the relationship between the family members, and they don't have really a strong conception of the money, and they devote a lot of times for the children and for their parents. So it's this thing that I cherish a lot. And I found this kind of point of value, or I don't know how to say English. This kind of life attitude is not everywhere now in China. So also for the new generation, for my generation and for the next generation, I think the life attitude is really changed. So I appreciate their life attitude, as maybe you can see through the film. And so I do want to record their life. And also I think if there is something Eastern, I don't know, because I don't know well about the Western family life. But what things that really touched me is how they pay so many emotions and loves for their elder people, and I think so. It's just emotions between the family members. Yeah. you know, one day when I realized that the whole life of my parents' generation, when they were young, they were really tired of work, they're short of money, and they have to raise children like my brother and me. And when they get like middle age, like 40s, and they have to, at that time, they have like the teenager daughters, and they have the older, really older parents. And when they are get into 50s and the 60s, and they still have to pay a lot of time with their parents. This is what they choose and they love to do, but it's really also, it brings a lot of, so as I see that many friends of my parents, they got cancer or they get heavy diseases from the pressure of life, from the so I try to describe something. I just try to represent or something like this, that what I see. Yeah.
We have one more, and it's the woman who didn't get the mic the last time in the middle.
Thank you. I really like the film very much, and I love the sense of a different generation. And I really think you also you captured a real intimacy between yourself and your parents. Just the little moments, like when you're cleaning your father's ears or plucking your mother's eyebrows. Those are just wonderful moments. And I guess I'm curious about how your family feels about the film, and how they felt about what I would imagine the extended period of time when their apartment was occupied by your crew and everything else.
Yeah. I want to say that they haven't seen this film entirely yet. When this film will be shown in China, I will invite them to see in the big screen. But before the film is really published, I do ask them that I told them everything that I told them that what I have shoot in this film, and I asked them to see some paragraphs that I thought maybe it's a kind of sensitive for them, but they didn't want to see. They didn't want to see them in the screen, and also including my brother. So I don't know how they will feel about this film. But before I shot a short film with my parents, but it's a different story. Once my parents, they asked me a question, why I will make a film that's so sad. So maybe in the future I will try to make some film more with more happy sense. And for the second question is, it's really quite a while the small apartment is occupied. I think they get kind of tired. And also to shoot with the family, it's sometimes it's very heartbreaking work, especially for me, because I have many emotions towards them. But during the shooting, sometimes I was also kind of strict with them. I really tired them, so I often I have heartbreaking. Yeah, so it's kind of heartbreaking job.
Thank you so much. That's all we have time for. I'm so sorry that we don't have longer. It's a wonderful film. And
thank you. Thank you.